City. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I announced I was going to go live tonight at 10 p.m. West Coast time. It's about 10:05. Um, so let's see here. I'm just filtering out my messages here. The topic today is I'm going to start off with how if you really want help in family court, you'll get it. You'll find it. The reason why I know that and I can say that is because when I was totally lost before the internet was big, I found the help I needed. And when I was hopeless and didn't know what to do or where to go, when I was hopeless and didn't know what to do or where to go, I kept diligently searching for help because I had nothing better in my life to do than to fight for my daughter. What else you gonna do when your life with your kid is on the line? What else? I've said this a million times before. If your life with your kid is on the line, what else do you have to do but look for some answers to fix that? It's not the exact same thing, but it's close. If your kid, like you're married and everything is honky-dory in the marriage, and your kid gets diagnosed with a disease or something, you will search high and low for answers. Or if your kid is lost or ran away, you will search high and low for them. You're not going to sit and wait on the cops. You're not going to wait on somebody else to rescue you. In the case of your kid being diagnosed with something, you're not going to sit there and wait for someone to come knocking at your door to give you an answer. If you get a wrong answer, like a doctor says where your kid's got 6 months to live, you'll go to another doctor, and you'll search for answers, whether they're sitting in front of you or not. But in family court, my gender sits on their ass and waits for somebody to come rescue them. That's why I'm so harsh in my videos, because this is a war and you just got bombed with a nuclear bomb, or somebody set off the first shock and awe warfare tactic against you. It's time to wake the hell up and pick up your big boy pants and put them on and let's go to war. And everybody wants to sit around and cry and whine about how the war sucks and how you got blindsided and how this isn't nice and why does this happen to you, or why should you have to fight for your kid while you're sitting around dilly-dallying around, your kid's getting taken from you. So if you want answers, in 2001, some of you guys know this, I reach out to law firms, Goldberg and Jones, divorce for men lawyers. They told me I get every other weekend, and they wanted $5,000. I said, F you, you're out of your mind. Hang up. Talk to a couple of fathers' rights outfits. Then I called Dads Against Discrimination. You know how I found them? I was in the phone book looking, and they had no advertisement, no pictures. All these lawyers with big pictures taking up half a page, and there's one line that says Dads Against Discrimination. They're now gone and defunct. Their website used to be dadsamerica.org. If you guys know how to look for the ghost shadow thing of a website that's gone, you can do that, and you can see their old stuff. It just recently went away, I think about 6 months ago. It used to be up, and there's nobody managing it because the guys either fizzled out, died out, got burnt out. One of the guys who started it is waiting for the aliens to come down on his roof and take him away. But the guy who mentored me told me a little bit of information. I would meet him, pay him $25 an hour back in 2001, and he would open the rule book on the King County local rules for Seattle courthouses. And he would say, here's Civil Rule 7 on motions, how to file a motion, and here's this. There you go. Write that down, take notes. And that's all I had. And then he showed me, they just started a website where they have the court forms online. Go figure it out. That's it. I show you guys in detail in some videos it's just a point here, a point there, on getting started with a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't know anything about discovery until 5 months into my case when my baby's mom sent me interrogatories. I didn't know anything about depositions. I never did one, or else I would have done one in the first place. I didn't know anything about just keeping my kid. My mentor didn't even tell me to keep my kid. The mother was voluntarily letting me have some time when she finally got a lawyer, because the lawyer said, you're going to look bad if you keep alienating the child. And I didn't know anything about this stuff, but I still did enough to fight. And I'm literally giving you guys 100 times the information that I got back then. And I still got people. I'm going to show a video on YouTube It's on TikTok right now about a guy who called me and said, if you really cared and you're really real, I don't even think you got custody. I show you guys my winning custody order. You can see my case number. You can go look it up online and verify it. And bitch ass faggots are calling me saying, I don't even think you're real. But if you are real, you would call me and give me free information and advice after I spent thousands on an attorney and fought and blah, 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 blah. If you actually cared about your kids and you actually wanted help and were willing to fight, you can find answers. Because number one, if your attorney is not giving you satisfactory answers, I'm talking to a lady on the other side of the country. This is why I call dads punk ass bitches, because there's a woman who's on the other side of the country who called me and paid for a consult one night because she was looking all over TikTok and Instagram and the internet for help. And she saw that I looked like I was the one person who wasn't bullshitting everybody. I was telling them what the real deal is. I didn't have a happy smile and everything's wonderful. And if you do this, you'll be restored with your kids. I was telling her the real deal of alienation and things like that she was going through, and it resonated with her. And I've been talking to her off and on ever since. Now she's getting ready to go to trial and finally fight. And she's finally got the wherewithal to get. There's so many people who said they would have killed themselves if they didn't come across me and they didn't get the hope here. And then I got bitch ass losers who lost in their court case and they're mad that I won't call them up and give them a bunch of free information. And I show you guys the voicemail, this bitch ass loser who says you would be giving me free. So really what he's saying, I dare you to prove that you're real by telling me a bunch of free information. And then he's saying, he watched 4 of my videos and I'm full of shit. Like, why don't you go watch all of them? They're free. What else do you got to do? And then here we go. This guy, John Anderson, he says, thank you for your information. Greatly appreciate you. I just had a guy the other day. He won against a restraining order. He was scared to death that he had like 3 or 4 consults with me and lit a fire under his attorney. And the mom looked stupid in court. I had another guy, never consulted with him. He did it on his own on TikTok. He said, yeah, I fired my attorney. I did it on my own. I got custody and yada, yada. And guys are out here still talking that you need $50,000 for an attorney. The guy I'm talking about, who I just said called me, left a voicemail. Again, in the video, I'll show you the voicemail. This is the type of stuff that I got to deal with on a regular basis. I have to sift through all these punk ass bitches to find a guy who actually wants to fight for his kid. When a guy sees me saying, stop being a coward, stop being a sissy, stop being a punk, stop being a bitch, grow some balls and do this stuff and do that stuff, guys who are willing to fight, they're like waiting for somebody to say, it's okay to get on the offensive and go to war. But everybody's been telling them to be passive, be a sissy, be sweet and loving and tender and don't blaspheme a mom. But other guys are out there, they lost in court. Oh, why did I lose? This sucks. And then they wallow in self-pity and they never get anywhere. And they're the same guys that David Goggins talks about. Yeah, what's that Francesco guy? Gosh. This Hispanic dude. I think he always wears baseball caps. He's always wearing a tight shirt. Big old Latino dude who lost a bunch of weight. He's like, you guys are just sitting on your ass doing nothing, whining and crying about life. You got to take life by the horns. You know, anybody else? I think it's Dan Pena, P-E-N-A. These are guys, we've lost being a man. Now, you don't have to be an asshole for no good reason to the average person and just yell at them for anything. But if you want to go and do something like fight in family court, it's ugly, it's war. You have to be ready for war. You can't be a pussy in family court. Just like if you're trying out for a football team or wrestling or a hard sport, you have to be willing to endure toughness and workouts and training. You can't say, this is too hard, coach. You have an easier route. You will get laughed out of the gym. Yet, I have this faggot-ass bitch comments and content all the time. How dare you say that we got to fight harder? I fought hard. Did you do everything I talked about? Well, what is that? We don't know. Guys will contradict themselves. All the feminine guys will say, I did everything I could. Well, what did you do? Well, I don't know. I fought hard. Like, do you know about doing a deposition, getting on the fence, or doing a reconsideration when you lose, going from a magistrate or commissioner to a judge? No, I didn't know about that. So you didn't do jack shit. The guy I was talking to, I said, look, man, I've dealt with 25,000 cases. I'm a 5-star general in this war. Well, and he starts laughing, and his brother gets on the phone, and they're both talking over me like a couple of heckling females and having a circle jerk over talking over me. And the guy told me to call him back to give him some help, and all he does is just yell over me. And then I answer a question of his, and he yells back. But if you're not, now, this is an emotionally triggering thing, but you have to get your emotions in check, just like a guy off to war. Everybody who's off to war, nobody in a war wants to be there for the fun of it. I did have one client who said he couldn't wait to get back to Iraq and start shooting mother effers, which I thought was kind of effed up and sick in the head. But the average person doesn't want to be in war. They wish they could be home. They wish they could be home with their wives and their kids and all this other stuff. But out of necessity, they have an assignment and they do it, and they want to do it to the best of efficiency to knock it out and get it over with so they can get home. If you watch Saving Private Ryan, their whole goal was to find this Ryan guy. They didn't care what the political reason was or whatever. They were going to go home after they did it. That's the mentality you got to have. If you don't have the mentality, you don't need to be talking to me. So if you have that mentality, you will look for answers, especially with the internet. There's people who have found since 2000. When I first had a website about 2009, I've been on the internet, and there have been people who found me around the world, in Canada, Australia, Europe. You live in the United States. You haven't found me for 5 years. Why? Because you stayed with your attorney and you tolerated mediocrity, and you tolerated spending $5,000 and $10,000 and $5,000 and $10,000 and losing, and you didn't have the common sense God gave a monkey, and you're being a little bitch and taking it up the ass every month that you went to family court, and you tolerated it, and you didn't follow your conscience like a real man and say, this is some bullcrap. My attorney better do something or I'm going to fire him. Or you would go look for a second opinion, like I told you, if your kid got a disease or a sickness. You wouldn't, if a doctor said, hey, look, you can't do anything, your kid's dying in 6 months. You wouldn't just quit. Like, what do you got to lose if you're going to go look for another doctor, or a Dr. Sebi, or an herbalist, or a naturopath, or go to Mexico or somewhere else, or something where people were claiming, oh, we got the cure for this or that. Or somebody reversed their stuff with this herb or this nutrition or whatever. You wouldn't tolerate or settle for an answer like that. But in family court, we settle and we settle and we settle and we tolerate this and we tolerate that. Dealing with the guy, he talked to me before, and I told him about getting on the fence and all this other stuff. Next time I talked to him, he had already agreed to a domestic violence protection order. Screwed himself over. I'm like, why did you do that? Why didn't you talk to me ahead of time? Why didn't you? I have guys who settle on permanent final orders about all kinds of stuff. Well, I just wanted to make them happy. I just wanted to move forward. So you want to move? How the hell are you going to move forward when you set yourself back 5 years? If you want help, you will get answers before you make a move. You will use some damn freaking common sense that God gave a monkey. When Goldberg and Jones, if you could Google it, Goldberg and Jones. You can watch my video, Goldberg and Jones. When they told me that I can't get anything but every other weekend, I was like, you got to be out of your damn mind. I work at night. I could be my daughter's daycare. Oh, you'll still get every other weekend. Because they have their mind made up that no man can win in court. Yet they're a father's rights law firm. That didn't make any sense to me, so I followed my conscience and I looked for more help. And then if you can't find anybody giving you any help, all the court rules, all of the laws, all the court forms are online for about every single state. You don't have any excuse. If me, a warehouse worker who flunked out of college, figured out most of what I needed to figure out, and I had a mentor who gave me a little bit of guidance, I would call him about every 10 times I called him. He wouldn't pick up, but once out of 10 times. And then I got some help. And then I got another mentor. He gave me some guidance about the war of attrition and getting on the offensive and how they do the paper blizzard and you do it back. I still didn't get that. I paid him $600 to do some paperwork. He did it wrong. I had to redo it. I just sucked it up and toughed it out. A lot of you guys would cry, whine, cry, piss and moan. I lost and I don't know what to do. And You don't have to be a genius to do this. The guy who was calling me left a voicemail. He was crying, well, guys don't know the terminology. You don't need to know terminology shit to go in there and say, Your Honor, I'm a good dad. I'm not dangerous to the kid. What now? Why would you take the kid away from me? Everybody knows that kids need fathers and all the statistics about absent fathers. Why would you do that? You don't need to be a rocket scientist to do that. But if you're a pussy ass bitch, you're scared to even look that stuff up or even think about considering doing that. But this is common sense. If somebody rips you off or tries to take something from you at a car dealership or at a transmission overhaul place or a tune-up spot, you would argue with them and say, no, I'm not tolerating that. That's some bullcrap. You guys half-assed this job, or I'm not paying for all this extra stuff that I didn't ask for. You stand your ground, but you don't do it in court. Why? Because there's somebody in a robe there? You don't love your kid enough to step out of your side of your comfort zone and adamantly demand what's right in court. Well, I don't know how a judge will react, and I don't know the terminology, and I'm worried that I don't know that I don't know that I don't know. Then be a pussy-ass bitch and go crawl under a rock and don't say anything, and you will get the same result as when you go to court and shut your pie hole and don't say anything there. Just crawl under a rock so you don't have any stress. Just say, I quit on my kids. And there's actually guys who do that. And I've seen that in the comments. I saw in the comments on my TikTok, this guy said, just walk away from the whole thing. It's not worth it. Pussy-ass bitch. How can you live with yourself and ever face your kids? I mean, you'll probably never see your kids because when you walk away like that, you just open the door for the alienator. See, a real man protects. A real man will go to war for the kids. A real man realized I had kids with a crazy woman. These kids, you know, there's guys just say they just walk away from the whole thing, especially if the kids give in to the alienation. It's the parent. You don't get mad at a kidnapper for kidnapping your kid. That Ariel Castro guy who was in Ohio that had those women in his basement for 3 years, one of them got pregnant. You don't get mad at her for getting pregnant by him, do you? I guess I'm an asshole because I'm holding you guys to a standard of a warehouse worker who flunked out of college and expecting you guys to actually give a shit about your kids. So I get frustrated when 90% of what I see is whining, crying, pissing, and moaning. That's why I talk the way that I talk, because I'm going to weed out all the bullshit. You know, I got 9,000 followers. Then the guy in the video, or that I'm going to show you a video, the guy who called me said, I know what you're doing. You have a bunch of negative stuff to trigger responses to get popular on your website. That guy just showed me why he didn't get his kids and why he lost. He's a dumbass, low IQ Neanderthal who has never evolved. Because if I was going to get popular, I would do the fake stuff that all the other popular pages, Father's Rights Movement, Fathers Matter 247, all those guys post whine, cry, pissing, and moaning stuff. Judge Anthony, he talks about alienation. Why? Because it hooks you in, because like, oh my God, here's a father who went through what I through and went through what I'm going through, and he feels my pain. Let me go talk to him so we can all hump each other, dry hump each other, and whisper sweet nothings each other's ears and have a pity party. Misery loves company. And so those guys got 100,000 followers. But I've seen, like, actually on Fathers Matter 247, that guy's page is on Facebook. He's got like 2 million followers. That bitch ass sellout. That's all he does is post stuff. Well, when a father has to pay child support, he goes broke, and then they call him a deadbeat because he can't afford it. And then all these guys are commiserating. Sometimes you might see 1 out of 200 comments. What are we doing here? Like, what's the answers, though? We're just whining and crying. Somebody actually gets it. That's the guy I'm looking for. You know, Tough Dad, TUF Dad, I almost never agree with that guy because he talks all the 50-50 bullshit. He sucks Mark Ludwig's jock strap so hard. Mark Ludwig's talking. Mark Ludwig. They're probably having a circle jerk meetings with you. That guy actually supposedly got 50-50, and he said after like $30,000 in 5 years, I got 50-50. And he had people shitting on him like I was happy for him. Even though I disagree with all of his bullshit, I was happy for the dude. And I said, congrats on Facebook. I was looking for it today. I couldn't find it. Maybe it's too old of a post. He had haters saying, well, that's because of this and that, and you got lucky and all this. The guy fought for several years. Now, he did it with an attorney. He did the slow, long, drawn-out process, all the stuff I disagree with. But I'm glad he got 50-50 for the sake of his kids. Like, I don't hate people who don't win in court. I just don't put up with the bullshit of people whining, crying, and pissing and moaning about court and how it should be easy and all this other stuff. It's not going to be easy. The system is not changing. The end. Now what? Now, I should call this video, now what? Your lawyer isn't working for you. Now what? Do something different. Oh, this is too hard. Now what? Endure hardness. This isn't fair. Okay, now what? You're going to quit on your kids, bitch? I have to talk like this because, so I was telling the guy who was harassing me, this Guadalupe dude from Federal Way, Washington, where I've lived before in the past and stuff. This guy, he said, I said, look, I dealt with 25,000 cases. He's like, well, how do you know when guys didn't fight? Because I talked to them, you stupid jackass, at 25,000 cases. And he still didn't get it. He had female emotional reactions. And then I said, look, I'm a 5-star general in this war on fathers. Oh, you are not. And then his brother who's in the military chimed in, and then they're talking over each other and talking over me, and they're circle jerking and getting their rocks off, harassing me and stuff like that. And they said a 5-star general wouldn't do this and that and wouldn't talk down to people like you. People in the military will talk shit to slackers who are slacking off and whining and crying about how hard it is, you dumbass. See, we got guys out there who are mentally ill and they're screwed over in their family court case because they're messed up in the head. We got guys who do have anger problems and domestic violence problems. We got guys who are pussy-ass simps. We got guys who feel entitled and are rightfully outraged they got screwed in court, but they feel like somebody owes it to them to fix stuff. When you're the one who stuck your stuff up in a woman and made a baby, dumbass, and you're so stupid, you had a baby with a crazy woman. Now, sometimes the woman looks normal. I've been bamboozled by a normal-looking woman twice in my life and got suckered. I didn't see the signs coming one time. Another time I saw the signs, but I was like, oh, poor her bad life that she grew up and all this stuff. I was a dumbass. And see, I can call myself a dumbass when I'm a dumbass. How come you're such a pushy-ass bitch? You can't do that. You don't got to condemn yourself, though. You just say, okay, I was a dumbass. I'm not going to do that ever again. Let's move forward and fight. We're dealing with the reality here. I'm the only one on the internet talking like this. Now, there used to be dozens of other people talking like this before. Some people say, oh, you're just doing it to get rich, or you're just doing it to get... I'm not rich at all. I'm sitting here... There's a lot of people who've been through the struggle and been through in and out of family court. I have a guy, very rich guy, very prominent, uncertain in a certain economic arena. He knows some super famous people, but he called and talked to me regular, off and on, when he was dealing with domestic violence criminal case. And he had finally beat it because he endured until they just dropped the case, but he was dealing with hell for like 2 years. And he was like, I don't know how you haven't killed yourself. This stuff is draining just talking about my case. And you talk to thousands and thousands of people, and I see how people treat you like shit, and you deal with this stuff. I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. I don't got time for all. And I used to play Mr. Nice Guy and listen to people's stories and stuff and do free consults up first to prove that I know what I'm talking about. If you can't look at my winning court order and know that I know what I'm talking about, you're a dumbass mother effer, and you don't deserve help because there is no hope for you. Some of you guys have what's called an unteachable spirit. You can't be taught anything because you're such a mother freaking moron. You want everything to go your way like it did when you grew up with mommy feeding you breakfast in bed. Let me get to some questions here. The point is, if you really want to help, you could have found it. I've been on the internet. You didn't try and look for more help. While you're getting your ass kicked in court, you should look for other help, a second opinion, just like you would with anything else in life. When you don't like a car price on a lot, you go and compare it somewhere else. Or you're trying to get a stereo system at Best Buy, you look at so-and-so stereo and you compare prices, and you get a second opinion on everything else in life except family court. We turn into punk-ass bitch, brainless zombie, nutless faggots when it comes to family court for some reason. In every other area of life, men don't tolerate the stuff we tolerate in family court. Why? Because we're scared and because there is a spiritual war going on. And if you don't believe in the spiritual war, okay, there's some kind of trance that everybody's under in the family court, and you walk in it, and it's like being in a twilight zone. So there's something weird. You can call it negative energy. You can call it dark aura or whatever. There's a spiritual war going on. There's God's design for the family. There's an enemy to our soul that has influenced knuckleheaded, radical feminists, hairy-legged, lesbian who hate men that got molested by their dad, and they're all judges. And Joe Biden gave them billions of dollars through the Violence Against Women Act to promote women causes. And we're outnumbered and we're overwhelmed. And nobody's doing shit about it. And Mark Ludwig is sitting there jerking himself saying, hey, look at me. I'm at this press conference and I'm over here and we're asking for 50-50. But he won't go to a blue state and do that because he's a pussy-ass bitch. I'm up here going into the lion's den and protesting judges in their neighborhood, at the courthouse, for other people's cases that they're not even fighting on. I just heard about their case in such a travesty of a justice that I'm spending my own free time doing it, and I'm changing that judge's rulings for other cases that I hear about later. And everybody's talking about I'm some kind of selfish bitch trying to get rich. I hate liars and I hate fakes. And the guy who called me up is some faggot-ass bitch who wanted to stalk me, and he felt like I owed it to him to prove to him that I know what I'm talking about because he's hurt. You know what he's like? He's like a woman who got molested when she was younger, and she never got any closure, and she never got justice. And the guy who raped her or molested her, she never was able to vent. So what she does is she vents on a scapegoat. Her good boyfriend, her simp boyfriend, or her new husband. I've seen it with my own eyes. I was dealing with a guy who was married. The wife got molested by her stepdad, and he went to prison for it. And when he got out, her mother moved him back into the home, and he kept molesting the daughter. And then when she grew up and moved out, she married this guy, and she said he raped her. Why? Because she never was able to have an outlet and to vent, and she was kooky in the head because she was molested. And this guy used to take her to counseling sessions, and she would have the shakes when they pulled up because she had to revisit the torture and the torment of the molestation and things that cause her mental health problems. And she never got a chance to vent to the perpetrator. And so the knight in shining armor, that new husband, he was a safe place to vent to. So she went to court and lied and said he was the sexual assaulting perpetrator. And she got a protection order against him, and she was at his house having sex with him while the protection order. Now, he was stupid for doing that. But he had a great argument, like, why, if she's afraid of me, why is she coming over to my house that she left and initiating sexual relations? I just talked to a dad like that not too long ago. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, you dumbass? Lady won't let you see your kids, but she gets whatever she wants from you, including sex when she wants it. When my baby's mom was withholding my child from me, I had the common sense that God gave a monkey to stop giving her money. Then she went to court and complained that I stopped giving her money. And the judge said, are you telling me that he needs to pay you to see his kid? And she's like, oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. Some of you guys are such freaking faggot-ass pussies. You would never not give her money because everybody in the world, in this corrupt, perverted, evil, feminist-dominated, Jezebel spell casted upon world, says you have to give money to your baby's mom, this prostitution exchange, because she had sex with you and had a child. And you're such a dumbass simp, you would never stop giving her money. So she's withholding the child from you, and you give her money. That's your leverage right there. I've seen guys stop giving money, and the mother's like, what are you doing? You owe money. Like, well, what's more important, money or love? You're depriving the child of love. And then they work it out because he used some leverage. I shouldn't even have to tell people this common sense stuff. But I do, and then when I do, they're like, oh, you sound like an asshole. I wouldn't do that. Go on with your loser MO and all the bullshit you've been trying to do that doesn't work. Okay, so let's get to some questions. So, I probably need to get glasses, but it takes a second for stuff to focus for me. Erwin Crane says, you're greatly motivated me, and I was awarded emergency custody because of information you provided on your video. Wow. See, that's the kind of stuff I love to hear. That's what I'm doing here. I'm sitting here being persecuted as if I'm the bad guy. I don't have a popular channel. I'll never have 1 million followers like that faggot Fathers Matter 247 who just sitting there gets his rocks off. He's an attention whore. He gets his rocks off. He's bringing awareness to father. Everybody already knows father's getting screwed. Pearl from Pearly thinks he has 2 million followers. Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit. All these people are talking about women manipulating dudes and taking them for the money. Joe Rogan has had some episodes where he talked about horror stories of divorces. We already know it. What has changed? Nothing. But James's followers who actually grow some balls and go to court and fight, they go from 0 to 50-50. They go from 50-50 to full custody. They go from nothing to full custody. They fight off restraining orders. My stuff should be blowing up, but see, what happens is I tell you, you got to go to war, and it's hard, and you have to do the hard stuff to get there. Just like somebody wants abs, so they go get a pill to get abs. That's 90% of America. 10% is like, yeah, I got to work out and eat better. 9% of that 10% give up, and only 1% work hard enough to get abs. And then everybody else is hating on them. Oh, they just have genetics. Because you were a bitch and didn't want to do something that you felt entitled to get. And deep down, a lot of you guys know I'm telling the truth. You're just butthurt and you react like a female. Modern females are not accountable. They react emotionally. And you know they're putting... I just found this out. There's a lot of estrogen in... What do they put it in? Oh, there's estrogen in our water supply because of, you know, the pill... Whatever. I'm having a brain fart. The pill to protect from getting pregnant, they get dumped in, they get flushed down the toilet, dumped in the water supply, and they're actually feeding the water supply that kind of stuff. This guy was saying, you know, Alex Jones was right. Everybody thinks Alex Jones is a nut job conspiracy theorist. He was talking about frogs were turning gender or turning gay or something like that. And then later people confirmed it. Like he sounded like a nut job when he said it. You know, truth is stranger than fiction. The truth of family court, nobody believes it until you go to family court. Have you guys, let me ask you a question. Every single one of you watching this video, have you ever talked to somebody about family court and they did not believe it was as bad as you told them? You're like, oh my God, they're sitting there financially, mentally raping and torturing me. I can't believe they're doing this. They're trafficking kids. And people are like, shut up, dads get every other weekend. That's the norm. What are you complaining about? Or, shut up, this, that, and the other. Has anybody ever doubted what you're saying, how bad? And even if they care, at some point, they can't deal with the burden of this stuff. And that's what I'm talking about. I've been dealing with this for 24 years. And 90% of the interactions I have with people are haters. Because they hate me talking truth. Even when I was talking nice, they're like, oh, you're bigoted toward women because you're helping men. It's almost like being Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. And obviously I'm not as big as them, but it's like that. Where no matter what you say, they hate you because of the way you look or what you're standing up for. They want you to stay in your own lane and stay over there. So, if you've ever had somebody say, we don't believe you, or it can't be that bad, and then they finally go through their own family law case or their divorce, like, oh my God, you were right, dude. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. Or they just don't believe you now. That's kind of what happens when I tell people, hey, look, when you're about to go to family court, get on the offensive now. Do this now. And you want to listen to your attorney. You can't use any damn common sense. All your friends are every other weekend dads. You know a little bit about family court. I'm sitting here saying I got full custody without an attorney, and I show you my winning order. But you're still such a dumbass. You trust whatever your attorney says, and you spend... I've had guys who watched me for 3 years and went through a custody case and a modification case, and they're still getting screwed, and then they finally call me. Why wouldn't you at least call me At the beginning, even if you have an attorney, just to learn some pointers or something. You're only hurting you. Like anytime, I just saw a great job for a paralegal at a father's rights law firm. It looks like one of the law firms that actually is a father's rights firm. And I could make more money than what I'm doing right now. But I have a passion for this until it dies out, which is, it looks like it's fizzling out. Because the more I get out there, the less people talk to me. Maybe they get sick and tired of hearing me say the same thing. But if you watch a David Goggins video, he says the same thing over and over again. Get up, bitch. Every day is a warfare. Every day is a struggle. You fight through the struggle, and then the struggle doesn't get easier. You get tougher. That's his theme in every single freaking video. And you guys are like, I'm sick and tired of you talking about guys need to man up. Well, if you don't man up, I mean, that's what coaches tell football players. That's what coaches tell wrestlers. That's what CEOs of a for-profit business tell the salesman. Come on, we need more sales. Get off your ass. Blah, blah. Every entity in life that's competitive, the leader or the coach or the boss tells guys to get off their ass and do their job. When I tell you to get off your ass and fight for your kids, somehow your butt hurt like a bitch. What the hell? I didn't need anybody to motivate me. And I'm sitting here, I got to motivate guys to want to fight for their kids. I don't get it. Now, if I never went through a family court case, or if I was an outsider, if I just went to law school and I started preaching this stuff, but I never went through my own family law case, you'd have a right to say you don't know what the hell you're talking about. But only stupid or mentally ill weirdos will say, you didn't go through anything. You didn't get full custody. When the evidence is right in front of your face, I got my hashtag HIGC testimony. You could put that on YouTube. I would have a whole bunch more. I started doing on Instagram. I should have been doing on YouTube a while back. I'd have a whole lot more. I can't tell everybody's testimony because they got to keep their case a secret. But people who are willing to do it, they put it out there. But my one testimony, I won in the Court of Appeals twice on top of winning custody because I had to go back for a modification and fix something there. And then I went back to modify child support, and the judge would not make the mother pay daycare and medical, which was mandatory under law. He said, oh, she doesn't want to talk to you, so she doesn't have to. I got him reversed in the Court of Appeals. Then I turned around and emailed everybody at the courthouse and said, this is your fearless leader. This is the lead judge in family court. He can't even read the child support laws and understand the plain English of them. My sister with Down syndrome can understand them. And I told everybody at the courthouse so he would be embarrassed every day that he went to work after that. Because I got some balls. And so I don't understand when pussy ass bitches I'm not expecting you to follow through and stand up to judges and all that stuff. The only requirement is for you to rescue your kids. But when you don't even want to rescue your kids, and I'm sitting here spending my free time on a whole bunch of stuff, and people say, you don't know what men are going through. Bitch, you don't know what I'm going through. I barely ever talk about this, and I've hinted toward it in some videos. All you punk ass bitch faggots that whine that I hurt your feelings because I tell you to grow some balls, and I got some answers for you that are 1% of the cost of your attorney. I'm a caretaker with a mother who has an initial onsets of dementia. That's a full-time job. I'm co-guardian of my sister with Down syndrome. There's no other family supporting that. So that's my sister with Down syndrome. She's really self-sustainable. She knows how to get around and stuff like that. Her Down syndrome isn't that bad as far as debilitating, or she just had a friend that her age that passed away because she had Alzheimer's or dementia. She just had a friend who passed away. A lot of her friends that passed away, she's in her 50s, and most of the most people with Down syndrome, they pass away in their 50s. And I'm out here giving all this free knowledge. Every one of my videos on YouTube and on TikTok, that's my own free time. I could get up here and just do like child support is fraud or any of these other scam artists, punk ass faggot bitches who sit there and tell you, oh, you could get rid of a child support case. And they don't tell you squat about anything. You have to sign up for their $100, $800, $1,500. You could pay $6,200 to have them visit you at your home. Pay for their vacation so they can visit and talk some bullshit to you. I'm showing you. There's guys who actually won in court just watching my free videos. And I still got people complaining. I'm putting it nicely when I say, if you're saying, well, I'm broke, I can't get your help. I got $50,000 worth of free videos your attorney won't even show you. Yeah, I'm chewing you out a lot of times, but I'm giving you information. And you know what you could do on my YouTube channel? You could type in a specific topic and find stuff. And that will lead you where to go. And if I don't give you all the exact answers, you'll at least get a jump start that I didn't have myself back in 2001, and I still got custody. What is your pussy ass bitch excuse now? There's no reason for you to have any excuse to not go all out. Now, if you go all out and you've done everything and got on the offensive and you still got screwed, sometimes that happens. But the vast majority of guys who get on the offensive, even if it's a little late in the game, change some things. Some of them, it's too late. And the mom was willing to fight to the death. But the guys who get on the offensive from the very beginning or reach out to me and get help from the beginning, they actually do well. And bitch-ass pussies are crying, oh, you said something harsh about me. I'm giving you free information and you're crying? You lost in court. You could take my free information, or you could get a consult with me, or get some of my packets that are worth thousands of dollars that are mostly $45. And you're still complaining. And I got full custody, and I won in court over and over. I got dragged in and out of court for 20 years. And now that my daughter's on her way, I'm still living a sacrificial life where I'm looking out for my mother. I'm looking out for my sister. And I'm doing all this free stuff for you guys, on top of having people pull on me. And then I get hated on by my own gender who need my help, and all they can do is hate. You guys are lucky I'm even here. And some people recognize that, like the guy I was talking about, who was, he was a high stakes gambler. Well, I shouldn't get into that. Anyway, there's some people who are high-end, high-performing people, so they realize the effort that I put in this. When I'm dealing with pussy-ass, low, mother-effing, white trash trailer park bitches who just run up on any chick with two legs because they're desperate for love or desperate for a nut, and then they got a kid, and then they got a fight, and they're too much of a pussy-ass bitch, they're like, oh, it's too hard, I don't know the legal knowledge. You don't need to know any legal knowledge. Or you could get some help from me and get some legal knowledge, but some of my videos have legal knowledge. You could just speak plain English. I've had guys who English is their second language go in and win in court because they prepped with me. The more I talk about success stories or what I did and you're whining and crying, you look, I don't understand how a man has the audacity to call me up and talk shit about me after I won and say, well, I don't believe that you won. But if you did win, you need to give me some free help and a free consultation. Anyway, I'm rambling about that. But this is the root problem. If all the guys, if there was an army of guys ready and willing to fight, all I would be talking about is the techniques and stuff. Once you got some balls and are ready to fight, like if you don't got the balls and courage to fight, why should at boot camp why should you be trained how to disassemble and reassemble your gun blindfolded? Why should you learn all the trades if you're scared to fight? Why should you learn how to jab or do an uppercut or defend yourself or, swing a left hook after the jab or whatever if you're scared to fight in boxing? You shouldn't be in boxing. Anyway, let me go through some of these. And this is another thing. Like, I know I gave people notice late, but I'm sitting here doing a free video right now, and I invited people to ask questions. I got 12 people in here right now. I know I did it last minute. You would think people on the West Coast who follow me. I got 9,000 followers, hundreds of followers on TikTok and Instagram. I used to have tens of thousands of followers on TikTok. And people are like, where did you go? I didn't know how to find you. You bitch-ass, low IQ, mother effing idiot. I say hashtag how I got custody and put it on everything. All you got to do is put the hashtag how I got custody on TikTok or Instagram or on the internet, and you can find me. This is why you're losing in court, because you're a freaking retard who can't even... My sister with Down syndrome pays better attention than you. Like, you watch my videos and I introduce myself. All you got to do is type stuff, but you want somebody to just hand it to you. I feel like I'm in the Matrix telling people, wake the hell up, and they're just zombies just walking around. I just got to just follow the process and trust the process. The process is corrupt, but I'm going to follow. See how stupid some guys are? The process is totally corrupt and anti-father, but I got to follow the process. I don't want to go in court and disrupt them and talk about fathers' rights and equality and how kids need their fathers. That looks bad. What the F is wrong with you? The answer is to unbrainwash the court from their anti-father bigotry, and you're saying, I don't want to talk about that because that'll hurt somebody's feelings, so the system stays the way it is. So I got a success story here, right here on the spot. I should screenshot this since you're willing to put that on. I think it's in the comments. Can I screenshot that? Yeah, I can. Okay. Just got done. A guy saying nobody can win with my help, and this guy says he won, and I assume he didn't get a console. He just watched my videos and he won. That's the stuff. And see, I'm happy for him. I didn't get any money from him, and I'm happy for this dude. And people call me the enemy. You faggot ass, punk ass bitches. You're your own worst enemy, dude. ChatGPT, this is dad mode in dark mode. ChatGPT makes it easier than ever. That's true too. I haven't even done ChatGPT. I still got arguments that still work today in my paperwork and packets. If you use ChatGPT, and earlier in this conversation, I was talking about a woman on the East Coast who reached out to me, and she still gets my help. And she's used ChatGPT, and she actually wrote a pleading by herself. Her attorney wrote a pleading and failed, and the court threw it out and said, I'll give you another chance. And then she wrote the pleading, and she used ChatGPT, and the court accepted the paperwork. She did it instead of her attorney. I keep telling you guys you can do better than your attorneys, but everybody's scared. It's easier than ever to be your own. This is back to dad mode, to be your own attorney. I use it to draft my motions and refine my strategies. If your kid is your... you're missing a word there. If your kid is your something, why can't you handle anything? Gotta be a stone cold tactician. I mean, if you love your kid, you'll do anything for your kid. And one of the problems is having and keeping this mentality that having keeping this mentality that having and keeping, I got some guy walking around my car looking suspicious. Having and keeping this mentality, I forgot what I was even saying, I'm sorry. I don't know. I mean, if you love your kid, oh, that's what I was going to say. If you have your mind made up, I want this to be over with. I want it to be over with. I want it to be over with. Think about how when you want something to be over with, you're at the dentist, or you're somewhere you don't want to be, or you're around people you don't want to be. You're at a party with family and it's boring, a reunion, and you wish you were with a girlfriend or a buddy or somewhere else. The time goes by painfully slow. If you're having fun somewhere and you're enjoying it, the time goes by fast. It's easier to deal with stuff based upon your attitude. If you have your mind made up, I'm going to go through hell. I will get screwed in family court. It's a marathon. I have to take it step by step. I will be deprived of my kid. It's going to suck. You know, when I was in the dark, I didn't have anybody guiding me like this. If somebody would have told me that, I'd have been more prepared. There are nights I cried myself to sleep on my pillow. It was the most torturing thing that I could ever deal with, not seeing my daughter. I fell in love with my daughter when I saw her at the hospital. I fell in love with her like any other dad would of a daughter or a son. You see your precious child there. You know, I felt her kicking and bumping. I sang a song to her. I saw her on the sonogram, but it's nothing like actually seeing her. And, you know, like the song I sang to her in the womb, when I sang to her in the nursery, and her face, her eyes didn't open for a few days. But I could see her face light up and recognize the song. And I saw her react like, oh, that's our song, Dad. You know, I lost it. I just fell in love with her. And then the next day she's ripped out of my life. Well, you know, about a few weeks later, she's ripped out of my life. My whole life, I just restructured my whole life to revolve around her. And then she's taken away from me for 40 days straight. If somebody would have been able to tell me the stuff I'm telling you guys, your mentality going in, and share that stuff with me. I mean, if I found somebody like this, the guy, Dads Against Discrimination, I was calling that guy 3 times a week for several weeks. I would have definitely had a consult with a James Christensen, somebody like me out there right away. I'd have been all over it. I got a guy who's dealing with a trial in the Midwest right now. That guy has had about 4 consultations with me. He's had 4 or 5 consultations with me, and a couple of them were 2 or 3 hours long. I think one was 4. He wanted to fully get ready for trial. If you have the mentality of this being a marathon, or the right mentality, it's easier to endure. If you have this, I want a quickie fast drive through, I want Amazon to come and knock on my door and say, here's your free delivery, 50-50 custody. If you have that expectation like the average spoiled brat, bitch-made feminine man who grew up with a golden spoon in his mouth, or mommy did everything for you, you played video games, you didn't have to work hard, you didn't have to mow the lawn and cut firewood and stuff like that, like Generation X or earlier did when we were younger, then you're going to be a bitch when it comes to family court and feel entitled. And you will be frustrated and maybe suicidal or more depressed because it's not over in a couple weeks. The family court system is long, drawn out, and slow. And it's even, ever since COVID, there's some courts that used to have hearings, and you could get a hearing in 2 or 3 weeks, and now it takes a month or 2 months or 3 months. And there's still ripple waves from that. If you don't have your mind made up with a warrior's mentality, it's going to be ugly and long, drawn out, and I need to survive week to week, and I need to get on the offensive, and I need the therapy of getting on the offensive. If you're a doormat and you're laying down, you will suffer 100 times worse than somebody that's fighting and getting on the offensive and chipping away and wearing them down. I had no idea I was wearing the mother down until one day she called up and her attorney surrendered. I had beat the snot out of her and beat her down. I had victories, and then I had lows again, and it was up and down. I didn't realize the war of attrition was wearing her down. I stumbled across the answer, and I'm sharing it with you guys, and most guys are like, bullshit, it should be easier than that. My mommy told me life is easy. Well, you were a single mom raised little bitch. Time to be a man. You guys know I know what I'm talking about, and this is the real deal, and this is real life. I'm not bullshitting you. If I was here trying to hustle you, I would prance around and show you my winning order in every video and remind people I got full custody and won the Court of Appeals and say, if I won, you can win. And here's your prize. What did they win, Johnny, if they do what I say? And I give you a happy-go-lucky pipe dream I would sell you. But you would come back and say I'm full of shit because I was being fake and phony. I tell you there's no guarantees. But except if you don't fight the right way, you will get your ass kicked. And you will regret it for the rest of your life. And your kids might be ruined for life. But if you fight the right way, you'll give yourself the best chance to get something fair. Not guaranteed, but you will give yourself the best chance to get something fair. And real folks know that I'm being real. So, Eustochio. Did I say that right? Eustochio said, dealing with alienation right now. There's an argument against alienation. There's a way to paint an alienator. There's a way to get on the offensive with alienation. Doing a deposition. If you're dealing with a guardian ad litem, you should be submitting stuff in writing to a guardian ad litem. See, this is a chance for questions and stuff. If you guys are just going to tell me, oh, this sucks or I'm going through this, you have a chance to ask me a question. What's your question? If you succeeded like a couple guys said, great. But if you're sitting here just saying, I'm dealing with alienation right now, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want some help? If you want some help, get a consult. If you're lost about something, you have a question, ask a question. This is the time now to ask a question. I'm sitting here doing a free forum right here. There should be thousands of people on here. Like I said, if you really want help, you'll look for it and you'll find it. Oh, well, it's late at night. Your kids aren't worth you being up a little late? I pulled all-nighters before every hearing because I was afraid to go to sleep and not wake up. And I'm walking into court like barely alive. Your bitch ass can't stay up until 11 o'clock on the West Coast. I guess it's 2 o'clock East Coast, so that's, you got to get up early. You're exhausted. I understand. But you're lost. I'm driving. Can you leave this up so I can watch it when I get to my destination? Sure. Russell Stewart. The lives always go up, but problem is I have a bunch of different I'll put this up and I'll have the cover. I always leave the lives up. So I'll put it up. And I have, what is it called? Oh, so the playlist, YouTube only lets you have like 6 playlists. And I think I got 8, 9, or 10. And so like 3 or 4 of them don't show up. So I got to figure out how to fix that so I can get everything on there. I got so much stuff I could be doing. Now, if I was a fake-ass pretty boy like Mark Ludwig, that faggot-ass bitch who used to be an Amway salesman, is telling everybody, oh, let's go get 50-50 in all the red states, but not the blue states, and just part of the country and all this stupid-ass bullshit. Send me $5 and subscribe to my newsletter so we can talk about 50-50 like every father's rights advocate has been talking for 60 years, and we can talk about a bunch of hot air bullshit and how we're not doing anything anywhere. I don't know why you guys can't read through the bullshit. It's after people watch Mark Ludwig or they're on a website. Like, I get people come to me, I'm so sick and tired of all these bullshit father's rights groups. One lady said in, I think it was on the Fathers Matters page, or it was the Father's Rights Movement. She said there's like 634 or something father's rights groups on Facebook. And her complaint, basically, I can't remember exactly how she worded it. She basically said, we ain't doing shit out here. I'm helping people win. This shit should go viral. And it's not, because it's not popular, because it talks about the ugly side of family court and what it takes to win. Just like a trainer, or, 60% of people, 70% of people are obese and overweight. I'm overweight myself, so talking to me too, but I'm not out here pretending, oh, it's so unfair that I'm not ripped and I'm not in shape like I used to be when I was younger. It's my fault. The vast majority of everything that's wrong with your life is based on choices that you made. Yes, people betrayed you and played you. I got played a few years ago by a chick. I could have got over it a little bit faster. I didn't, because I was in and out of court because I had to get a protection order against her, and then she tried to get a protection order against me 4 times and lost. She eventually went into court and told the judge, F you. I got the transcript. She said F you to the judge because she couldn't win a protection order against me. She felt entitled to it. And the judge didn't throw her in jail like most attorneys told me she should have been. So anyway, so this will be up, but the playlist category, I'll probably select a playlist category. I have a selection of lives. You have to take a couple steps. This is what I was going to get to. On my YouTube, you have to click on playlists and I think go into a screen that shows you all the playlists. Whereas normally, if you just go into the main page, it'll show you 5 or 6 playlists. You have to click the playlist button to get all the playlists, then look for the lives. So, do you help with criminal cases too? I pretty much have only helped with false allegations that are kind of related to family court, like child abuse, domestic violence, molestation. I've talked to people on these cases, and their attorneys aren't doing shit. So I don't pretend to have the same expertise in criminal cases, but there's stuff that you should know about how to deal with an attorney, how to light a fire on your attorney, especially if you got a public defender, and your right to be presumed innocent, how to deal with the leverage game with copying a plea and the games the prosecutors play. So I'm going to set up another consult. You gave me some great needed info. Thanks. My lawyer would have charged me $1,000 for that consult. Yeah, yeah, I know. So here's somebody who got a consult. He's thankful for the information. I had a guy call me, and he spent 15 minutes on the phone talking about what an asshole I am and how I suck and how I didn't get full custody, how I didn't win, how I'm not a general in the father's rights movement, and how I'm full of shit. And then he had a bunch of gotcha moments. And he said, why don't you teach us some stuff? I said, I do teach. And like, what? Like, let me answer. I have a video, my main most popular video. And when I said main, they cut me off and started yelling over me. So I was about to give the guy an answer to something he could go to help him, and he cut me off because he's a blabbermouth, feminine, faggoty bitch. That's my gender. That's what I'm dealing with all the time. And the only relief I get is when I see stories like what's up here. These guys up and down here saying, I got good information. I watched your videos and I won in court. That's the only relief I get, that there's a few guys out there that do that. I'm not here for everybody. And I know I'll never be popular. People, when I did an interview with Pearl from Pearly Things, I did it in the fall 2022. It was a great interview, hour and 20 minutes. She asked some great questions when I was answering. That lady was listening because she cared. And I wish my clients would listen like her. First time she ever talked to me, we talked 3 minutes before the interview started. We didn't do any prep. She just started asking me questions. And then when I was rambling on, then she would jump in. She said, wait a minute, you said this. Why did you say that? I was shocked at how intently she was listening to what I was saying and absorbing it. And she's kind of young. She's in her late 20s. But anyway, that video was put on her page. She deleted the whole playlist because I was on a playlist of like how-to information or how to do this or how to solve this problem. And even though she has 2 million followers, this whole playlist was filled with videos that had 5 to 20,000 views. Because nobody wants to hear that shit on her page. Everybody wants to watch her make fun of booty clapping hoes because it makes you guys feel good to down women because they've been downing you. Instead of getting answers. Like the average person doesn't want answers. But people were telling me, well, it was nice knowing you, James. I guess you're not going to talk to us or the lay person or the average. You're not going to consult with us because you're going to be famous. I'm like, watch, let's wait and see. And it turned out I didn't blow up because of that. Now, I don't know the exact reason she deleted that playlist, but I assume it just wasn't going anywhere, so she deleted it. But I should have downloaded that video because it was a great interview and it's informative. My lawyer would have charged me $1,000 for that consult. Benjamin Sachs, I need help getting a restraining order dismissed that I was stepped into, that I stepped to in order to see my son, who I haven't seen in 6 months. See, that's what they get you on. They get you to, they dangle the kid. And a lot of you guys out there, you'll get a restraining order and the wife will call you up and say, you know what, I know you want to see the kids, we can come meet together. And there's a restraining order saying you go to jail if you go around there, and you're so emotional, you go and meet up with her and she calls the cops and gets you arrested. So this lady who totally betrayed you, suddenly you turn around and trust her and commit a crime, and then you wonder why you're in jail, and now your case is totally screwed because now you got a criminal domestic violence protection order violation, and now it's a felony or misdemeanor or whatever. So yeah, call me or text me to get help. All my information is in the link below every video on my flow page, my contact information and all that stuff. And that's I should do another video. I got to remind people once in a while. Keep getting people in the comments, I need help, and then they disappear. See, if you want help, you will get help. I got my phone number in the video most of the time. This guy says, I need to know how to get some help from you. Call me, bitch. What do you think the phone number's in the video for? This is how mother effing stupid my gender is. You need help, but you really don't want help. You just, in the moment, you're like, oh, that's really inspirational. I need help. Just like, oh, that commercial is inspirational. I should get that magic pill or that Thigh Master, and then so I could get in shape. And then maybe you order it, maybe you don't. And when you order it, you don't try it, you don't do anything. You're full of shit the whole time. Anyway, so I wasn't bashing Benjamin, but he said I need help. So the way to get help, that just led me to think about all the people in the comments, especially on TikTok. I need help. Can you help me? How do I get help? What do I do for help? How do I contact you? It's right there. And then on top of that, everybody knows that anytime anybody has social media, usually your information, your website or whatever is in the bio. The bio, the biography, the main page at the top. People don't, my gender's so effing lazy. Like, I don't answer that stuff. If I see it, sometimes I'll say the best way to reach me is text or call me, the number in the bio or whatever. But half the time, like, you don't give a shit about yourself. If you can't at least figure out how to call me, if you don't have the energy or the smarts to find my phone number in the bio to call me, and you're sitting there waiting on me to reply to your comment before you get help, you don't give a shit. I can't help you. You are hopeless. But you can always change. You can decide, just like getting in shape. You decide, I'm going to get disciplined about this. I'm going to chase the discipline or the routine, and I'm going to let the weight fall off as it may or whatever, but I'm going to focus on maintaining a routine and change my lifestyle. That's a choice. It doesn't automatically fall upon you. You got to go do it. Same thing with fighting for your kid. I'm somebody who won. I prove it to you with my winning orders. What else do you need to know? Get some help. Call me. Let's go. Will the father get primary if the other mom withheld the visit from the father? I don't know. I can't predict what's going to happen on your case. I got full custody after I got the mother found in contempt, but I was beating her down several different ways. I fought off restraining orders. I went to go get a temporary order, and I didn't get it at first, and I appealed from a family law commissioner to a judge, and then I got 5 days a week. And she spent thousands on an attorney, and I beat her down. Some people run out of money and they surrender. But you want to sit back, let me play Mr. Nice Guy and not get on the offensive, and you could be draining the other person financially. Now, that's not a goal. That's a byproduct of you actually having some balls and getting on the offensive. I cannot predict what's going to happen in a case. Will a father get primary custody if the other mom withheld visits from the father? Well, first of all, if the father's not doing contempt, I don't know what the hell is wrong with him. Contempt is the only remedy. Watch my videos on contempt. If you go onto my YouTube channel, listen very carefully. If you go on my YouTube channel, above the main video, there's a small magnifying glass. You could type in a topic: contempt, deposition, trial, alienation, whatever. And then watch all my videos on that. Best interest, questions, like questions to ask at a deposition or trial. But he should be doing contempt. If he hadn't done contempt, he hasn't done the first step. You can't even think about getting full custody. Now that's an argument, but are you looking at the laws in your state? If you're in Florida, the statute is 63.133. I think it's the first one, or maybe that's Illinois. Illinois, I forgot how they do their stuff. It's like 5/605, 607.5. Anyway, I got links to my flow page to different states. The statutes usually say which parent is more willing to facilitate a relationship with the other parent, or to grant regular visitation, or to honor the parent, or to honor the child's needs over their own wishes. That's all alienation. You should be arguing that in court for custody. You have to go look at the laws and argue them in your favor. But if somebody's violating a court order, they should get in contempt. If there's no court order and they're withholding the child, they can do that because you don't have a court order. That's why I would go just keep my child as long as I want. I have videos on that too. But I can't predict what's going to happen. You just got to go for everything. You got to do everything available. Free game. I won with your information after 2 consultations and videos. Nice. It's insanity. Is insanity with an X instead of an S. That's clever. It's way better to be on your own than an attorney. Yes. Whether you get my help or not, you are better off with it. I have a video that I can't remember if it's 5 or 6 reasons that I represent myself. If you go to my YouTube channel, now you can't do it on the phone. The phone app doesn't allow you to do that. If you're on a desktop, a laptop, I think on a tablet, on the main page, you can go to that, the main video, the intro video with the search bar. You could type in a topic, or on YouTube, the general YouTube, you type in how I got custody running together, and then a topic: pictures, contempt, attorneys or lawyers. I have different videos. Sometimes I say lawyers, sometimes I say attorneys. You should if you got an attorney or face an attorney, you should watch every video that has the word attorney or lawyer in the title. I should do that in a short. I should write that down. Attorney and title. I pretty much talked about everything I need to talk about. I don't know what else to tell you guys other than what I've already said. I've been on the front line of this shit for 2 decades. You got to be a stupid jackass and you don't give a shit about your kid, or you have a learning disability if you can't realize that I know what I'm talking about and what I did worked. And what I'm talking, there's people who recognize what I'm saying in my videos and say, dude, you know your stuff. You're not BSing. I'm sick and tired. It resonated with me. I had a guy who called me, did back-to-back days, consults. He said, well, you said resonated with me. I've been waiting for somebody to say something like that. But all the attorneys and the judges and the lawyers and the guardian lions are all saying, sit down, be quiet, little bitch. And you said, I felt empowered. But then other guys say, oh, I feel hurt that you would call us that. How dare you? Dude. So the faggot that called me, what was his name again? Guadalupe. This dude is saying you're shitting on guys and putting them down. Why do you care? Did I put your address on my video and talk about you directly? No. I threw a rock in a crowd of dogs and you barked like a bitch. No pun intended. Why are you calling me up and going out of your way saying, well, you said hurt my feelings, stop shitting on guys, just give us free stuff. I already give you free stuff. F you, bitch. Some of you guys feel like because I'm doing this and doing a public service or have a business and I have this, you're just entitled to talk shit to me. It is what it is. You know, another guy that I forgot to mention when I talk about David Goggins and Dan Pena and all these other people, go look at Snake Diet, Cole Robinson. Our guys helping people lose weight, transform their lives. And see, as soon as he starts a live video, he's like, hey, fatty, you mother effing pussy ass bitch, you know, stop being a little bitch and get off your ass and exercise, you know, stuff like that. He does that the whole time. And then he has followers because they're like, yeah, what you're saying is the truth. But I could just, you know, the name calling, you're not calling me that. You know, I was being a lazy, whatever he loves saying, lazy C word. That's one word I really don't like saying, but and some people are like, yeah, I was like that before, but now I'm changing, so that's not me anymore. But why would you go out of your way to be so triggered? Because you know deep down that I know what I'm talking about, and you feel entitled to get the information for free like a welfare bitch. And then I call you what you are, and you don't want to get out of you're comfortable being a faggot, fruity little bitch-ass hoe who wants to just follow the system and get lucky and win your kids because you feel entitled to it, like a welfare mom feels entitled to welfare or child support because she screwed a guy. You got bitch energy, and it's time for you to grow some balls. Okay, I'm sorry, I got off on a 10. Okay, so Insanity with the X, he says, it's way better to be your own attorney. I got a video, 6 reasons why I represent myself. I got a couple other videos about representing yourself. James is 100% correct. It's a rough-ass battle, but I keep consistent and know how to file and argument is the hardest part of court. That's true. So there's other tough stuff, but keep fighting the battle, dude. So somebody realizes it's ugly as it is. I can respect that. All I want people to do is like recognize what he's saying. And it sounds like he's not expecting, like maybe he's shooting for, like I'd say, shoot for the stars and hopefully hit the moon. He's not really expecting like, oh, I talked to James and I didn't get the results that he got, so he's an asshole. He's sitting there saying, I'm right because I'm talking about the warfare and I'm not promising anything. Some of you guys want promises or answers with predictions of stuff. And some of you want, oh, I need full affirmation that if I represent myself, that I'll be okay. No, bitch, you're going to war and it's going to be ugly and you're going to be nervous. The last time I went to court, like my 50th hearing in court, I was nervous walking in. Bill Russell, the former center with the Boston Celtics who won, 9 or 11 championships, he said he threw up before every game throughout his career because he was nervous going into it. Mike Tyson said he was scared walking into the ring. And Mike Tyson was the scariest man in the entire world for a period of time. There's nervousness that kicks in. Nobody can tell you that it's going to be a sweet cakewalk or give you the results. You have to go in. You go and fight anyway. You're scared, you go anyway. You're nervous, you go anyway because your kids, I give this example all the time. It's like an Indiana Jones movie. Your kid is at the other end of a tunnel. And in that tunnel, as soon as you go in there, there's a boulder that's going to roll after you to crush you. There's spikes. There's snakes. There's thugs. There's robbers who want to jump you. But your kid's at the other end of the tunnel. Are you going to go or not? And the vast majority of you who go through that tunnel and you run as fast as you can, you avoid all those pitfalls if you put the most effort. And maybe you have a battle along the way. You have to leap over something, or something bites you, or something hits you, and you walk out with a couple bruises, but then you're going to end up with your kid. Then you forget about all the shit behind. But see, feminine diva bitches, they don't understand that. All they understand is this is hard and I have a right to my kids. Yeah, you have a right to your kids. Just like black people had a right to be free for 400 years. What do they know? Just like women had a right to be able to go and do what they wanted to do in life. Did they? Not at first. Not in America. Just like Japanese folks had a right to walk around America free and not be put in concentration camps in World War II. Did that happen? No. They were put in concentration camps in World War II. They had a right to that stuff. See, the fact that men in family court think that they're such entitled diva bitches that they should be untouched and unscathed and never have to go through anything in life, they would be the first category of people in the history of the entire world that didn't have to suffer something based on some discrimination. Grow up, mother effers. Bitch ass hoes. It's time to be a man. Get on the offensive. If you got an attorney, why aren't you doing a deposition on the mother? Watch my video on depositions. If you have an attempt to do a deposition, you can't call me up and say, I did everything I can. Did you know about depositions? Well, my attorney said maybe I thought it just cost too much. And you spend $20,000 on your attorney, you could have done a deposition for $2,500 and the mother might have quit after the deposition. But your lazy ass didn't watch my video on the #1 tool that's available to you, depositions. Or you could just get a consult with me and we could sift through the 900 videos that I got and get right to the point of what you need right here and now. Oh, you cost money and I don't got any money. Okay, bitch, you can't assemble 5 $20 bills for a first appointment or a follow-up appointment, 2 $20 bills to fight for your kid. You can't put down the Starbucks latte. You can't put down the cigarettes for a couple weeks. Your kids aren't worth it, bitch. I am the excuse killer. You get no excuses with me because I was a warehouse worker who flunked out of college. I was broke. I didn't have an attorney. I didn't have any help. I definitely didn't have a James Christensen putting out countless videos with information after information and free samples of documents in my flow page and free links to case law in my own state. There are people who call me up and they haven't even looked at my flow page and I got your links to stuff in your state that you could have had last week when you got your ass kicked while you're watching my videos being a dumb mother effer, not looking at all the resources available. It's your fault. It's your fault. I'm an excuse killer because any excuse you have right now is an excuse I could have used and I won in court. You got no excuses. Your kids are still under 18. And you know how to read and write and type and move a mouse on a computer. You don't have any excuses for quitting on your kids. My son's mother is trying to get me for child support after alienating my child. What's the next step? But if the kid's being alienated, do you have I don't know, do you have a court-ordered parenting plan? If I'm to guess what the contents of what you're saying is, the mother withheld the child from you, and you never went to court and went for custody or visitation. So if you're worried about child support, I assume you haven't seen your kid for years. That's on you, dude. You should have went to court and tried to get full custody a long time ago as soon as the alienation started. And you still may not have gotten 50-50 or more, but you would have got child support. You would have been able to argue a right amount of child support. Now you're dealing with back child support. Let's say your kid is 5 years old and you were separated and you saw the kid for a couple years. In the past 3 years, she's alienated you from your kid. Well, because you didn't get a court order in place, now she can go back to the day of birth and get back child support because she's had custody the whole time because you let her have custody. And when you could, let's say the kid's in school, you didn't go to school on Friday and pick up your kid and keep your kid or put the kid in another school or take control. You let her have custody so she gets to go for child support. That's the way of the world. If I was you, I would go for full custody now. And if you get full custody, then the back child support would be counted toward the child support. Let's say you get custody of your kid in a year. You owe $20,000 in back child support. That means, and let's say you get custody and you get child support for her for $1,000 a month. So you went 5 years. Let's use this fry right here. So before the fry, 5 years you haven't seen your kid. So there's $20,000 worth of back child support. And then now you get custody and she owes you child support. Let's say just to simplify stuff, let's say she owes you $500 a month. Okay. The $20,000 that you owed her from before will apply to the $500, so she doesn't have to pay you $500 for 40 months or 3 years. That's the best way to avoid child support. You could try those bitch-ass con artists like Child Support is Fraud on Instagram and see what you can get out of that. You can read his book for $100 that says, I fought my child support case because I wasn't the dad. I don't know why you need to pay $100 to find that out. That guy loves to say, oh, I argued against the proof of service and I argued against the seal from the clerk at the courthouse. Mother effer, you weren't the father. That's how you defeated your child support case. I was following and believing that guy for a while, and then one day he said out of the blue, oh, the child wasn't even mine. That's why you won, asshole. So you guys should be hitting that guy up and talking shit to him, because he's misleading everybody. I'm sitting here telling the people the brute, honest truth, but, you know, they killed Jesus for telling the truth. Killed Malcolm X and Martin Luther King for telling the truth. So, if there's any alienation, that's a form of, if your kid was getting molested by the mom's new boyfriend, I don't know why I even have to say this, but your kid's getting molested by the mom's new boyfriend, or the mom is slapping your kid around, and your kid comes over with bruises, or CPS gets involved on a complaint, and the kid's been cut or bruised or beat up. Are you going to just sit around and passively say, well, what do I do now? I don't know what to do. Or would you be thinking, I need to go get custody? Parent alienation is a form of child abuse. Go get custody. The end. That's for everybody out there. I've seen guys tolerate alienation for years. I actually had a guy who called me. He had court-ordered visitation with his kids like every other weekend. The mom said, don't pick him up from school, and he obeyed her like a bitch. I said, why didn't you go pick him up from school anyway? Well, I just thought I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings or get in trouble. You dumbass mother effer. The court order says she's ordered to give you the kids. How the hell can you get in trouble for following the court order? I don't know. That's how brainwashed and simplified and bitchified and henpecked and pussy whipped most men are. And then you guys get mad at me when I say that. You have a court order. If I have a job and we sign a contract that I'm going to make $25 an hour, and every 3 weeks I get paid weekly, and every 3 weeks the paycheck is off, and they pay me $20 an hour because I have a similar name with somebody else, and let's say they have a typo or mix up in the computer. I wouldn't say, well, I don't want to disrupt them and hurt their feelings. The contract says $25 an hour, and you got paid $20 an hour. You would raise hell about that. How come you don't raise hell about the mother not following the contract? Because you're a bitch slave. Time to get out of that mentality. That guy never called me back after we talked, though. I told him to grow some balls and go get his kid. I need help filing a motion to dismiss the restraining order that I stipulated to. Okay, I think. Are you the same one who said that up there? Let's see, did I get off here? Yeah, so you said that again. So where was that? I lost the alienation one. Did you retract that? So I'm saying this. Now this guy, he said he's got alienated and child support. I don't know the circumstance, so I just had to guess. But I said that as a blanket statement because there's so many guys out there. You're getting alienated and you act like the mother owns the child. Now, I don't know if that was the guy who said that. He might be getting alienated and he has a court order. If that's the case, you need to do contempt. So, because you didn't give me all the details, I'm guessing that might be the thing. But if that's your situation, you should be going to court and going for full custody if you're getting alienated, and rescue your kid before they're totally... I just saw a video on Facebook. I should probably download it and post it. This psychologist said that alienation is just as bad as sexual and physical abuse because it tears apart the mind of the child and splits them off into picking and choosing. And he was talking about some psychology or whatever, which totally makes sense. Kids just want to freely Kids want to just be kids and then freely love their parents and enjoy their life. And then they get in the middle. Kids don't want to see parents fighting. They don't want to get in the middle of stuff. Then on top of that, you send them as your foot soldier to go and spy on the other parent and talk bad about the other parent. You know, my dad was alcoholic. When I visited my mom's parents during summers, all they would do is talk how, I mean, they never say anything good about him. They talk bad about him. I didn't like that. I knew my dad was alcoholic and he had problems with his alcoholism, but I didn't hate him. I knew he was a different person, but it was the alcohol. But they hated him because, you know, he would yell at my mom and stuff like that. And so they felt for their daughter or whatever. But I didn't want to be in the middle of that. I'm 10 years old. My grandfather's sitting there saying, your dad this and your dad that. What's a kid supposed to say that shit? Why didn't they do something about it themselves? I mean, I couldn't. My mom made her choice to be with my dad before they got divorced. But kids don't have the ability to process adult conflict. And then they're already traumatized by a divorce or a broken family. Or if you guys were never together, they see their other kids with families that are intact and how happy they are just to, you know, it's the way God designed the family. And just like Kenworth designs a truck to have diesel fuel, you don't put diesel in there, you put something crazy in there like oil in the fuel tank. It's not designed to handle that, and so it stops working. The family was designed to be as healthy as possible and it's intact, and there's still problems because people are flawed, but you break up the family, you add all kinds of components. Like if you're eating healthy, you could still eat some poison by accident, but you have the best chance to be healthy. If you're eating crap all day, like I have Chick-fil-A right now, if I ate that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm automatically damaging or putting me at risk for all kinds of crazy stuff, as opposed to doing it once in a while or whatever, obviously, right? So you take the family, and then you break it up, then you have conflict, then you have fighting in court, then you talk bad about the other parent, and then some of these mothers and even fathers coach the child to act a certain way when they go over there. That messes with the kid's head. You're using the child as a weapon. And you should talk about that in court, but most of you don't say that in court because you're afraid how it looks to talk about how the other person is doing. What the F do you think a prosecutor does? When they're prosecuting a rapist or a pedophile, they say, well, I don't want to say anything that makes him look bad. Maybe I'll talk about when he was a juvenile, he stole some bubble gum from 7-Eleven. You know how retarded and stupid and asinine that sounds? That's just as asinine as your punk ass saying, well, I can't go in there and talk bad about her because that'll look bad. What the F do you think you're doing in court? The whole purpose of court is to talk about them, how bad they are, and how good you are. And when your accuser's falsely accused, you're confronting them. What the F do you think court is about? Have you ever watched a movie that has illegal? Have you ever watched Law and Order? Have you ever watched any of the John Grisham books on TV? I mean, there's a whole bunch of The Practice, Law and Order. I think shows like Chicago PD or whatever, they have courtroom scenes. A Few Good Men, JFK, The Time to Kill, The Client. Have you ever seen a movie with a trial scene? Have you ever watched a trial on TV? The Rittenhouse trial, the O.J. Simpson trial? How the F do you think it's totally different in your case? Why would you not accuse somebody of abusing your kid when they abuse your kid? And abuse of a child is a reason for you to get custody. You see how insane this stuff drives me? You have proof of abuse by a parent. And you're like, oh, I don't know if I could prove that in court. Try, bitch! Oh, I don't know if I could tackle that guy on the other side of the ball. Try, bitch, or you sit on the bench. This is not complicated. I need help filing a motion to dismiss the restraining order that I stipulated to. Now, if you don't want to get a consult with me, I have a $45 defense against protection order packet in my store. That countless guys, I can't even count the number who got that packet. Some of them didn't even get a consult with me. And they use that packet to show how restraining orders are used and abused for leverage in custody battles, as admitted to by attorneys and law professors and judges and investigators. And that helps people win because they show how this is yet another horrible case of that happening. You can get that packet, you can get a consult with me. Ideally, the best thing for people to do is to get a consult with me and find out what packets work for them. Set a consultation. So Daryl told Benjamin to set a consultation. That's one option, or you just watch my videos about restraining orders or get my packet. You can do this on your own, or you can talk. You guys can also look for a family court facilitator or self-help department in your state. I tell people to do that every time. I just talked to a guy who he's been prepping for trial. He's had several consults with me. He wanted to send me some paperwork from his trial, have me look it over, and we were going to go back and forth. And I said, well, you could summarize and do some notes, or you could have me dive into it. It's going to take longer, it'll be more money for my time. He goes, you know what, man, I just want you to do it. But I always give people the free or the cheap or the cheaper option. Sometimes you guys see that in my videos like I'm doing right now. You can figure this out on your own. Go do research. Google, if you're dealing with a protection order wherever you are, whether you're trying to undo it, vacate it, set it aside, modify, terminate, or you're defending against it now, you're preparing for it. Google false claims domestic violence, false claims child abuse custody battles, and find the information on your own. You can find it. Now, the bitch-ass faggot, Guadalupe, who called me today to harass me and say, I don't know what I'm talking about, that guy could watch some of my videos and see tips like, go find this on your own, or he could figure it out on his own with some damn common sense. But he didn't want to. He wanted to nag me. Guys like that, they want somebody else to rescue them. They want to pay a lawyer, out of sight, out of mind. I don't want to deal with the stress of it. You go to, and that's even unrealistic, because if you get a lawyer, your lawyer has you do 3/4 of the work on the case anyway. You have to go get witnesses for trial. You have to get declarations written up by your family and friends. You have to go get the pictures and the records. You're doing most of the paralegal work and then serving it up for the attorney to tighten it and tweak it to make an argument. You can't get out of this either way, so why not go all in and you do all the work? Or if you got an attorney, make them do their job. Stop being a bitch and let them run your case. It's your life. You have to deal with it. If they say, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do it, it's your case. They're your mouthpiece. It's your argument. Why would you not want them to argue what you want them to argue and what they need to argue, especially if you look up the law yourself? But you could do all this stuff for free. You don't need me. That's why you should know that I'm not a hustler. The faggot ass bitch who called me up and you do negative stuff to trigger people so you get a lot of views. No, dumbass. Again, if I wanted views or followers, I would do the MO that's worked for everybody else. See, but I don't do the bullshit tricks. Like I could, a couple of my videos, I sat down and recorded them with a 4K camera and I took the time to edit it later. I don't got time for that shit anymore. If you can't take the content that I got and figure this shit out, or you don't have the motivation to get a consult with me to laser-like precision, pick apart your case and see what you need to next, then you're freaking lost and there's no help for you. I would have killed for a bunch of TikTok videos. Like people complain my TikTok video, oh, you took 6 minutes to get to the point. You freaking lazy ass bitch. I'm doing this video for free and you're paying an attorney $400 an hour and you're mad that it took 6 minutes for me to get to the point in a 10-minute video. Go kick rocks, bitch. You don't care enough about your kid to wait 6 minutes to get some free information that you won't get from your attorney at $400 an hour? You see all the faggotry I'm dealing with? You see the feminine bitch-ass hoe shit I have to deal with all the time? This is why there's no father's rights advocates out there. They're just people whining and crying, pissing and moaning about the system and hoping somebody else will save them. Just watch, pay attention. Go to a Father's Rights Movement page. Go to Fathers Matter 247 on Facebook. Watch the posts and see who comes up with answers. I saw one guy on there out of a couple hundred, there's like a couple hundred comments for every post eventually. One guy on there said, hey man, I won my case. If you guys need some help, DM me. Nobody responded to him, and there's hundreds of comments there, just glossing over it. Nobody's looking for answers. And then I get hate mostly from my gender of people who lost and I won. If I want to be a pro basketball player or get a D1 scholarship and I'm just average on a team and I'm a sophomore in high school and Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team as a sophomore, I'm going to watch Michael Jordan's videos on doing drills, or I'm going to go to one of his camps. I'm not going to go there and say, you're so full of shit. You don't know what you're doing. Just because you're on TV winning championships, that doesn't mean shit. But that's exactly how delusional my faggot haters are. And they're the problem. And if they would just grow some balls and be a man and learn how to fight, this is what, you guys get sick and tired of me saying that. But that's not changing. It's not changing. So it's the root of the problem. So when I mix in stuff like this to-do list or that to-do list, like I'm not giving specific information that'll particularly work for your case because I don't know you or know your case yet. And I need specific details. Like the person said, I've been alienated. She's going for child support. What do I do? I would need to know, like, how long you've been alienated. Do you have a court order? Did you not have a court order? Did you ever try and pick up your kid? Did you live together? Did you split time? I would need to know a lot more details to give a clear answer. So I gave a general answer to cover most people who get alienated. And that my answer to him may not have been his case, but I needed to tell guys, since that topic was triggered, I think it was Daryl or somebody, that there's a lot of guys out there that bow down and worship the mother and kissed her ass like she owns the child and he's a slave. And then he just gets in this predicament because he never even thought, maybe I should go get the kid. Maybe I should keep the kid. Oh, I'll go to jail if I keep the kid. If you'll go to jail for keeping the kid, why don't you call the cops on her for keeping the kid? Oh, it's a woman's state. Where do you get that idea from? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So how do you make all these conclude like you're being emotional? Time to get some answers. Like I'm talking about this topic. Time to get some answers and follow up and do them. And you got all kinds of answers on this page. I have to sift through all the haters and all the bitch-ass comments to, you know, find somebody who says, hey, I have a legit question here. Appreciate you. I'll reach out. But yeah, I've been dealing with false allegations left and right. Welcome to family court. That's everybody. After I got full custody, my baby's mom's attorney says, well, I don't think James is focusing on our child good enough because we're in court so much. She dragged my ass into court, and her attorney has the audacity saying I'm spending too much time fighting on court, so I'm not looking out for the kid. And she hadn't seen our kid for 4 years at that point in time, maybe 5. My baby's mom had periods of not seeing our kid for, I don't know, 1.5, 3 years, 5, and then 7 years at a time. I gotta move from the spot where I'm at. Let's see if I can wrap this up. I've been pro se for a year. Okay. And I have my enforcement hearing coming up. Fighting the best I can. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you're still lost or need some help, then yeah. I'm also pro se. Just did mediation. I have a video on mediation on why it's a total scam. If you guys can agree, then just agree outside of court without paying a mediator. A lot of you guys go to a mediator that's a lawyer. Sometimes you go to court and it's free. But if you have a lawyer, now this guy's pro se. But if I go to mediation on pro se, I'm going to sit there for 8, 9, 10 hours and pretend that I'm going to agree to something and make it cost her. That's what I'm going to do. That's just me, though. Because if she's not going to agree, I'm going to make it cost her. But if we both have attorneys or we're both pro se, I'll say, hey, do you want to agree to this? Okay. We can't agree. Why are we going to mediation? Courts make you go to mediation because I think it's going to work. It's so stupid. It's a total scam. I went to mediation. Now I have to get my evidence together. What do I need to do? On pro se, I just Dude, I don't even know. You're not giving me enough detail. What do you need? What do you need? I mean, do you have a motion coming up for temporary orders? Do you have trial coming up? Most people who want to get ready for trial, if you're lost, you need 5 hours of time with me. I have a trial packet in my store. I have an evidence rule video in my store. You have to know the rules of evidence. If you guys go to my flow page, which is linked under this video or any YouTube video, in my flow page, there's my store link, shopping cart. Below that is a video where I talk about the 3 most important things in my store. One of them is the evidence rules. One of them is the motion declaration for 50-50 or full custody. And another one is the defense against restraining order packet. Because almost every guy deals with it. Everybody needs to know the evidence rules. That's the rules that go for going to court. Or what's allowed in and out of court. You can find all that stuff on your own and you can figure it out for free. If you haven't figured it out by now, you need to get a consult with me. Everybody needs a consult with me, to be honest with you. You don't know 100% of everything. I don't know 100% of everything, but I know way more than you do. If you're lost and you don't know 100% of everything you need to know, you need a consult. But if you insist on doing this stuff for free, watch my videos on every topic you need to deal with. But this isn't specific enough for me. I just finished mediation. I have to get my evidence together. What do I need to do? I don't know. Evidence for what? What type of hearing or for what? If you're talking about trial, you need to get a trial notebook together. All your exhibits in a binder, you need to know how to present it, because if you don't present it properly, it could all get thrown out. And so you need to know how to authenticate evidence. That's in the evidence rules. You need to know how to testify to it or how to ask questions to get somebody else to authenticate it if they created the evidence. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need a consult. But this is an extremely vague question. You say, I need to get my evidence together. There's different types of hearings. Do you have a restraining order hearing? Do you have a motion for temporary orders? Or do you have trial? If you have trial, are you going to have a Zoom trial, in-person trial? What's at stake? Is it custody and child? I think you're the one who talked about being alienated, all that other stuff. I would have all kinds of scientific papers on alienation for trial. I would have every piece of evidence that you need. If you don't know what evidence you need, then you really need a consult. If you know what evidence you need, put it in a 3-ring binder, tab it up, have an exhibit list, a witness list, a trial brief, and get it by the deadline. If you're going for trial, there should be a pre-trial hearing where everybody gets deadlines to turn all that stuff in. But there's a lot of stuff that has to deal with trial. So another guy just answered your question. Hey, make sure you know the deadlines of when you have to send exhibits to opposing party. That's true. You need to know the deadlines. You need to know the court rules, the civil rules of procedure for the state, and each county has their own local rules, or judges have orders for their deadlines. But if you have a full-blown trial, you usually have a pre-trial hearing where they give the deadlines and all the materials that need to be turned in. And almost always you have a 3-ring binder or a trial notebook. When I was going to trial, I didn't go to trial the first time. I had a trial set up for a relocation modification, and the mother bailed at trial after I kicked her butt. And they never intended on going to trial. I had 5 volumes of 3-ring binders, so I had 20 books. I had to give the judge a copy, the clerk a copy, the mother a copy, and myself a copy. 5 times 4, yeah. I had 20 3-ring binders. I had like 380 exhibits. And in my trial notebook packet, I show you what a trial notebook looks like. I have an exhibit list sample, a witness list sample, an evidence rule cheat sheet, trial briefs with 3 or 4 different types for child support, custody, divorce. I mean, that stuff's worth thousands of dollars, but because you have to swap out the law and put your own content, I'm giving you a gigantic head start on a trial brief. A trial brief can have a judge reading your story the weekend before a trial, taking it home, like, oh man, this guy's got a great case, and they're already leaning toward you before. I would definitely have a trial brief in if you're going to trial. Still in the process of learning how to gather all the evidence. You definitely need a consult then. And then, I don't know how to pronounce your name, man. It's you Stockwheel, and my eyesight is bad. You Stockwheel, maybe. ChatGPT definitely helps. Yeah, just talking to ChatGPT. How do I prepare for a hearing? How do I get my evidence You know, if you're in Vermont or New Hampshire, how do I prepare for trial with a trial notebook in New Hampshire? What are all the elements or what are all the contents I need or whatever? But I guarantee if you don't get a consult with me, you're going to miss out on stuff that you need. I guarantee it. If you can't afford a consult, I'm not going to fault you for that. Then dig all the information up that you need to dig up. Ricardo Martinez de la Vega, or is that Vegas? I need to get glasses. I am using your info to win my custody battle in Mexico. Nice. I don't think I've ever dealt with a Mexico case. I've dealt with people in Mexico who had to come across the border. That might be its own different monster, but usually the battle is still the same in every country in Western civilization. Africa, Middle East, totally different. You know, Middle East, they have the, what do they call it? A dowry. You basically, you know, pay a dowry to get a bride and stuff like that, so it's different. We need that fire under our butts. My generation was raised by a lot of single mothers who don't fight. Yep, that's one of the problems. I got 50% thanks to you, James. Nice. Thank you, Preach. Sometimes the court mandates mediation. Yeah, I know, but if you go to court and say, we cannot agree, why would we go to mediation and have to pay an attorney? You're basically making me pay an expense that's irresolvable. We are not going to agree. I will not settle on what she's offering. We will go to mediation and not agree. If they say you need to go to mediation, I demand to know what's your reason for us to go to mediation. You're supposed to follow the code of judicial conduct and efficiently dispose of cases, and you're telling us to go do something that will fail. Why would you do that unless you're doing it to make money for the system or your buddies or friends, which the documentary Divorce Corp said is part of the corruption. $50 billion industry, it's probably way more than that. And you guys are just trying to make money and prey upon and predatorily prey like parasites upon the parties in this case. That's a bunch of peas. And you want to milk us for everything we got, so we go to mediation whether it works or not, because your lawyers get to zap us for a whole bunch of money sitting around talking about a whole bunch of nothing. If we can agree, we would have settled by now. If we can't agree, why are we going to mediation to pay somebody to watch us not agree? So your court order is invalid and violates all kinds of principles of equity, the code of judicial conduct. You're violating your oath. You're making us go and pay for something that we don't need because you want to enrich the system. You're not looking out for the welfare of the child and the parents saving as much money as possible for the child. That's the kind of stuff I would argue. I'll be setting up a consult. Okay. Best way to reach me is to text or call me. Text is faster, especially if I'm on the phone with somebody else. I'm telling everyone in my Father's Rights program about you and sending them your way. Cool. I hear stuff like that all the time, and I might get like 1 out of 20 people who were told that call and inquire, and then they find out I cost money. Then 1 out of 10 of those people schedule a consult. I appreciate the sentiment though, but you know, it's up to people. I mean, if anything, you could tell them to watch my free videos and tell them to search topics. That's what one people, like the guy who called me and harassed me today. He said, I watched 4 videos of the same old stuff you're crapping on dudes on. Did you watch videos that have the how-to and instructional stuff and detailed stuff? And he didn't believe that there were any there. But he didn't watch enough of my videos. I got 900 videos on my YouTube channel. He watched 4 and he made a conclusion. So that's his loss, though. That's his bitch-ass loss. My mediation was a free court service. Okay. If you represented yourself, that's great that it's free. It still wasted your time. If you had an attorney, your attorney charges to go to court. I had somebody that went to mediation at court and the attorneys negotiated something at some settlement conference thing. I'm like, why didn't the attorneys just call each other and talk for 3 minutes, say, you agree to this or not? They had to pay for the travel and sitting in court and talking and writing stuff down. So each of them got a bill for $500 to $800 or something instead of it being $80 for a 3-minute call. That's my main point. My mediation was free court service, but I used your packets and went from 27 to 50%. Oh, you got 50 out of mediation? Okay, then you worked it then. Congrats, you worked the leverage game. Panda says, even Jesus had haters. Keep doing God's work. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. Unless somebody, I'll give you guys a couple seconds here to if there's any other questions. I got 15 people. If you got a question, don't worry about feeling stupid. Oh, James is going to cuss me out if I got a stupid question. Just ask a question. I promise I'm not going to bash anybody. I'll give you a couple minutes here. So, if you really want the main point of this video, when I started it off, if you really want help, you'll get it, because there's answers out there. If I got answers in the days of phone books instead of the internet, when the internet was just really starting, I did my paperwork on an inkjet printer with a computer that was super slow, and you know, I typed up my own set of interrogatories from scratch. I just copied. The mother sent me interrogatories. I knew nothing about interrogatories until she sent me hers. Then I went, and then it said, this is how resourceful I am and how you have to be. In the interrogatories, it says, per Civil Rule 26 through 37, you are commanded to answer these interrogatories within 30 days and blah, blah, and Civil Rule this and that. Every time they said Civil Rule, or anytime a piece of paper says RCW or the law, I went and read that, so I knew what the hell they were talking about. A lot of you guys just gloss over this stuff, and some of your answers are right there if you just got off your ass and clicked. You don't have to get off your ass. Click a mouse and then type in RCW or, you know, California Family Code 3020B, at the MSL in Michigan, you know, the ILCS in Illinois. You know, go and when you see a citation of case law or a law, go look it up and read it. Every single one of you who watch my video should know Troxel versus Granville. The main point of it. I have a link to it on my flow page. Every single one of you who watched a few of my videos should have went to my flow page and looked at the section must see information. I call it must see information because everybody must see. If you care, you will look at all my resources and at least sift through it. I don't need that. I don't need that. Oh, looks like I need that. Let me check that out. I got nothing else to do in life. I'm not seeing my kids. I'm just sitting around drinking beer and watching football or baseball or basketball all day long. Maybe I should get off my ass and study some stuff to fight for my life with my kids. I talked to you last Saturday around 1 p.m. and I need help creating interrogatories from you. I have a free link in my flow page that goes to the mandatory, or not mandatory, a sample of interrogatories for the greater Seattle areas, King County. The Bar Association created it for family court. You can use that and work off of that. You can look at your civil rules. Usually it's Civil Rule 26 to 37 in most states. If it's not that, if you're in Michigan, Civil Rule 26 to 37. If it's not that, you type in Michigan Civil Rules Discovery or interrogatories, and you'll find the rules. See how easy it is? I had to go look at books or go to the law library and buy a used book or buy a book at the University of Washington, Seattle bookstore and get the King County local rule book, which was 800 pages, and the Washington State book. And you guys got it on the internet now. So easy. But, so I have a link to a free sample. Or in my store, I have a packet with more detailed questions for 45 bucks. Or we can sit down and go over that and you do a full consult. You know, follow-ups are 80 bucks an hour in 30-minute increments. You could have a 30-minute call with me for 40 bucks and get my free packet. So, and I'm saying this to anybody who's watching. So those are options. So, yes, but can I supplement questions from my state? Yeah, you can ask. So this is why you need to read the rules on discovery. The rules on discovery say what you can discover. You can discover anything that's relevant, that's not harassing or burdensome or meant to embarrass somebody. You can't ask the mother what's her favorite sexual position with her new boyfriend. Stuff like that, obvious, right? But you can ask anything that's relevant. What's relevant? Whatever you can argue is relevant. Like, people get scared of this stuff, like, oh my God, I don't know what's relevant, so I don't know what to do. Don't be a pussy. If you think something is relevant, have a good reason for why it's relevant. The mother's history of mental illness when she was a teenager is relevant because she's still acting like a bipolar narcissist. And that affects her ability to discern the child. So her mental health history is relevant. See how simple that was? I don't need a law degree to say that common sense stuff. When you start talking about stuff like what I'm talking about, everybody freaks out. Oh my God, I got to figure out what's relevant. That's just too hard, and I'm scared, and I'm scared, and I'm scared, and my little scaredy pants scared. Fear is an irrational emotion. It causes people to flee when no one's pursuing them. I think it's a proverb scripture. It's an irrational thing. Think about how kids are afraid that the boogeyman's under their bed when there's nothing under their bed. It causes you to think something's there that's not there. So guys are afraid of the family court because of stuff that they haven't seen and they don't know what it is. So they make up in their mind the worst case scenario. I can't possibly. Now, before I went to family court, I used to think attorneys were geniuses like rocket scientists. Now I know they're just regular people who got a law degree, and some of them are utter dumbass, retarded morons that really can't do this stuff right. They suck at it. Just like anybody else who got a degree or took shop class in high school and they try to fix something in the car and broke the car. It's not as hard as it's cracked up to be. It's hard, but you're thinking it's way worse. Just like a kid who gets on a diving board and sits there and stares and looks how far the 1 meter jump is, and dad's in the pool, and you just saw another kid jump in the pool all by himself, like, oh, I want to do that. And you get excited, you go up there like, oh, well, that's a ways down. And the longer you stare at it, the more your imagination thinks of reasons not to take the plunge or the jump. And you got all the safety nets there. Your dad's there. You got, the flotation arm things that wrap around your arm. You got a lifeguard there. You got all the safety nets there. And you're sitting there focusing on how far the jump is. And it's not even that far. That's how men are in family. I probably should do a video with a cover page of a kid on a diving board. You're scared of nothing in family court, just like a kid on a diving board. Now, nobody's saying this stuff is easy, but it's not as hard, and stuff is easier than ever. Like somebody in the comments said, use ChatGPT. Boom. You could have ChatGPT write up a motion. I've had people have very clever looking motions. Like I would add a lot more detail because the ChatGPT cannot come up with every human element. But if you even get a half-ass ChatGPT motion, that's way better than half of what these attorneys do. You just got to go in and give it your best shot and argue the stuff that's pertinent. And most of it's common sense. There's some legal mumbo jumbo you can throw in there to help you. Most of this is common sense. Okay, so I'll do another consult. Don't want to milk you, brother. Well, I'm on here for free, so somebody else said, okay, Keith Harris. Hey, James, I sent you a message asking when the next time you are available for a consultation. I already said, oh, that was you? Okay. I'm glad you got a hold of me, dude. I saw a payment. I didn't know to hold you. I just got an alert. So I'm glad you hit me up. So I think I'm wide open tomorrow, but I'll send you a text or a reply. So send you a text with a screenshot of pay. Yeah, I got it. You said you did Cash App. So yeah, I remember that. I need to get paid up front at the beginning of the call, but you don't have to like pay before I'll even talk to somebody about setting up a time. After we set up a time, then you can pay. But see, another reason why you guys know I'm not a hustler. There's actually times where I've had consults with people and they were getting mad at me because I would ask them questions, and I'm really just asking questions like, okay, so you haven't seen your kid? Well, why didn't you go pick up your kid or whatever? I'm trying to figure out their mentality, like where they're at. Well, I didn't because I didn't think I could. Like, you don't have a court order, so why didn't you just go there? What was stopping you? And they get offended at me just asking it like that. And I'm not even attacking anybody. And they just start going off, well, how come dude, I'm just asking some questions. Or sometimes I'll talk to people in a consult and they'll want to tell me their whole story. I said, well, I need to know what your court orders are now so I know where we're at. Because if somebody just starts telling me their story, I've had people literally talk to me for 45 minutes or an hour of a consultation, and they absolutely told me nothing because they insisted on dictating the way the thing went. I'm the one, you're the one who's lost, and I'm the one who knows everything. You're going to want to collaborate with me in the conversation and not just blab. And so I'll try and redirect people, and I'll say, look, I need an answer. I need to know your court order, and I need to know a couple things like the age of the kid or something. And they don't even want to tell me that detail because they just want to blab, and I'm interrupting their venting and blabbing or whatever. And they get offended and hostile and mad. I'm like, dude, in order to help you, I need to know a couple of things. I just tell me that real quick. And they're insistent on telling me. They're like, I'm stopping them from. I'm like, you can tell me the whole story after you tell me that. I need to know that for context. And then sometimes people get hostile because they have mental disorders, and I've had people that have restraining orders for good reason because they're a bunch of hotheads. And then we're 15 minutes in, and I know I can't help them, so I'll give the money back. Now, that's rare that happens, but the fact that I've done that, I have people who work businesses and stuff, they're like, you shouldn't even give the money back. Like, they took your time, you had to block out your time. That's their fault. They're being hostile. I'm like, no, I just want a clean slate with anybody. I don't want anybody to be able to hang anything over my head. And, you know, whatever. So, most recent hearing got sole custody of my son, but judge granted sole custody of my daughter to the mother due to age and gender. Had joint custody already. That's insane. So it depends on the factors as to why you got custody. That gender thing is utter bullcrap. They're saying that girls go with moms and boys go with dads. That's insane. That doesn't make any sense. So we could talk about that. So anyway, I'm gonna jump off here, you guys. Those of you guys who are actually growing some balls and fighting, keep up the good fight.